Hello, guys, and welcome to another exciting episode on What Games. I'm just kidding. Today we are discussing the Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi 3, but more specifically, Dragon Ball Sparking. If you guys have been watching the gameplay, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to answer the age old question why we only get multiplayer in one area. And I think this is quite simple and understandable, especially for me from a gamer, a game developer's perspective. And it might be hard for people to understand, but Sparking is adding some new things that make multiplayer almost impossible. At least split screen multiplayer. Two different consoles running multiplayer, yes, smooth. But split screen multiplayer is going to be it's going to be not implemented for a long time. So today we're going to discuss uh, why split screen multiplayer is not yet fully implemented in every level of Tenkaichi, and I think the answer is already obvious, but nonetheless, I think it's something that our viewers would like to listen to, and I'm hoping that you stay for the entirety of the video. And if this is a video that you like, please subscribe. The gameplay is going to be by KDZ, who makes content and has over 1,400K subscribers and could always use another one like so. And you guys, please feel free to do the same. A link to the full video, 49 minutes and 35 seconds long, will be available for all of you guys to head over to. If it's not, link is also here as you guys can see. But hopefully I don't forget to add it. But again, we're going to answer the age-old question of why it is that Tenkaichi, or it's not, is it even called Tenkaichi? No, it's called Dragon Ball Sparking. Doesn't have multiplayer on every level, on every board, straight out of the gate. Now, I am a fan of the Tenkaichi series, especially when it comes to Tenkaichi 3, most specifically on the Wii. That is the game for me. And don't get me wrong, recently I've played it, and my nostalgia was taken aback just a little bit. It's a wee bit more difficult on the Wii as far as knowing or remembering the button combinations because um, I was more familiar with the PlayStation 2 version or the GameCube version and not necessarily the Wii Nunchuk version. So I need to get reacquainted with that. But I do love the motion controls, and I think they could have refined those a little better, but they didn't. Sad to say. I don't think you should just be okay, certain things in the motion controls that just shouldn't be allowed. And if they had refined it, the game could have been so much better. But with that being said, if you have played with the 3D models, you will understand, or you should easily understand, the difficulty that would come with uh, having multiplayer split screen on a singular console, because I think the biggest thing or the biggest issue is with a singular console. Currently, with Sparking Zero, the landscape to traverse is almost boundless. It's almost endless. You do not see a boundary anywhere in the game. And so, since there's no boundary in the game, this kind of tells us how things are working, how things are being created. And so, um, the field or the landscape is a series of 3D models. Okay, you can't escape the FBXs, you can't escape the OBJs. The entirety of the field is destructible. That each and every singular what is the word I'm looking for? Each and every singular object has 3D models associated with it for it being fixed and for it being destroyed. meaning a wall has a bunch of blocks and pieces ready to be spawned if an energy blast hits it that is strong enough, or if a creature or character hits it that is strong enough to go through it with a hit that is strong enough to go through it. Um, so since these 3D models have to be rendered, it may be that the Xbox and the PC and the algorithms that they finally use for these things can and will um, finally have the ability to actually um, hold all of these 3D models on the screen at the same time. But this poses a problem when you implement split screen. See, the reason why split screen used to be available for us in so many of the games that we have played is because it wasn't free roam world. This boundary did not or existed, and as long as the boundary existed, you couldn't go. Oh my gosh! And as long as the boundary existed, you couldn't go outside of the world. And so the world that was being presented, the objects that were being presented, were the only objects that would ever exist. Even if an object was destroyed and the 3D model that is replacing it came in, it only had to come in one time. With a split screen, it now had to come in two times. But with the boundary, it can only the things that it existed in that area had to be created. So in split screen multiplayer, each individual possesses or owns a specific side of the screen, and this means that each object on the field is being rendered twice. So since these objects are being rendered twice, that means that are double the amount of everything on the screen, which for the original Tenkaichi series, excuse me, was no problem. Again, the boundary assists in allowing for the split screen multiplayer. But once you remove the boundary and have endless roaming or endless free play, you can hide behind anything or run away from anything or dodge behind anything, and most importantly, destroy anything. Well, think of if you had to double the amount. That's basically infinite, right? You're doubling infinity. And this is just something that one console can't do. Hence is the reason why you can play split screen. I mean, you could play multiplayer online um, via two consoles, of course. And hence the reason why in the hyperbolic time chamber of Sparking Zero, since there are only those center objects, the time chamber itself entrance and the building and the hourglasses, since those are the only things that exist in that area that really have to be repetitiously rendered, um, it's easy to do that, right? And even let's say if you were to take and create or have the characters destroy those areas, that area in that, then the rest of it is being repeated over and over again. Like as far as when a character moves this far, repeat this amount of area, and it goes basically in a spherical or it teleports. You know, however they're getting it to re-render the same area over and over again does not bog down the console, does not bog down the computer or the chips or things of that nature. Um, Whereas anything else, such as trees, such as new landscapes, such as the buildings, an endless amount of buildings and cars and things of that nature, um, it's just hard to keep replicating that and take into consideration that there has to be some memory involved in knowing where the previous destruction has occurred, knowing where buildings should not be any longer. I have even had issues when it comes to using uh, game development software in like making endless levels. that once you go past a certain amount of the level, things start to get a little bit wonky. Okay, my streets start looking funny. I don't think I've recorded that video. I should have recorded the video a long time ago, but streets start getting wonky. Things start messing up. Um, and to compensate for that mess up is a little difficult. Plus, it would be noticeable, right? Like one of the compensations that could occur is you could have an invisible boundary and have the characters, after hitting that boundary, end up teleporting a certain distance backwards to where they initially came from, but this teleportation would be noticeable in game. How could they fix this? Look, I'm no ultra programmer. I have no idea how this could be done. But I think ChatGPT could actually answer that question. So let's have some fun and see if ChatGPT could come up with a way to answer the question. I'm going to place this over here, and I am going to bring up ChatGPT, and we're actually going to ask it all about that. If you guys love videos like this, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to provide you with more information. Let's question or ask ChatGPT like this: in a new game known as Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero, which is a predecessor to the Tenkaichi series. Developers are having a small issue, and I'm wondering if there could possibly be a way that they could fix it. I don't know if they've used AI tools just yet to fix it, but maybe modders in the future can use what we know or what we learn here from you as a way to mitigate the issue. You see, in the original Tenkaichi series, players were able to play multiplayer split screen and battle against each other head to head in teams of even 5 against 5. However, in this new game being created, players can only play multiplayer on either the hyperbolic time chamber area for multiplayer, or of course online with two differing consoles. I would like to know, or I'm trying to understand, along with my viewers, how this issue can be mitigated. I do believe this is an issue because um, one console cannot handle regenerating or recreating or continuously creating uh, a multitude of objects when it comes to this split screen that could or would um, now require a endless world to be generated for the combatants, um, thus increasing the amount of objects that would have to be rendered at one given time during multiplayer. I'm trying to understand how this could work, if there is a way to mitigate the issue that the developers just haven't thought about or just haven't thought up yet. Dragon Ball Sparking is due to release, I believe, this October. So, if we could potentially be able to purchase the game and then mod it, at least on PC, and figure out how to fix this issue, I think this would be pretty big and pretty swell. But we're discussing it here on the channel known as What Games right now. I'm hoping that my viewers like what they are currently seeing. Can you help us understand this just a little bit further and maybe see how we can fix said issue together? All right, that was pretty long in the tooth. Hopefully, ChatGPT comes up with something pretty good. It's going to take in the tokens, and of course, it doesn't really know how everything works.
The issue you're describing with Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero seems to be related to the limitations of rendering and processing power when trying to implement split-screen multiplayer on most stages. This problem could stem from the game's engine or the hardware's ability to handle the rendering of multiple complex environments simultaneously. Understanding the issue in the Tenkaichi series, split-screen multiplayer worked well because the stages were relatively small and the game engine was optimized for this type of gameplay. However, as you mentioned, Sparking Zero might be pushing the boundaries by requiring more complex environments or larger worlds, which can strain the console's ability to render multiple instances of the game world simultaneously in split-screen mode. Potential mitigations: optimized rendering techniques, level of detail, LOD, scaling. Developers can implement more aggressive LOD scaling where distant objects are rendered with significantly lower detail when in split-screen mode. This would reduce the number of polygons and textures that need to be rendered simultaneously. Dynamic object culling. This involves removing objects from the rendering pipeline that are not visible to the player. In split screen, each player's viewpoint could be optimized to only render what they see, reducing the overall rendering load. AI-assisted optimization, machine learning for predictive rendering. AI could be used to predict what areas of the map are most likely to be seen by the players and preload or render these areas at a higher level of detail while reducing the quality of less critical parts. Behavioral analysis. AI could analyze gameplay patterns to optimize resource allocation based on how players typically navigate levels. This might involve learning which areas of the map can be simplified without impacting the gameplay experience. Cloud rendering for multiplayer. Although more futuristic and dependent on infrastructure, cloud rendering could offload some of the processing tasks to remote servers. This would free up local console resources to handle the split-screen rendering better. However, this requires a strong and stable internet connection. Modding solutions post-release. Custom LOD mods. Modders could potentially create mods that introduce more aggressive LOD scaling or even reduce the complexity of the stages in split-screen mode, making the game more playable in this mode. Simplified stage mods. Creating or modifying stages to be less resource-intensive when played in split-screen could also be a viable modding approach. This might involve reducing the number of objects, simplifying textures, or even changing the design of certain stages to be more split-screen friendly. What can be done after release? Once the game is released, the modding community will likely dive into the files to see what can be adjusted. Modders could start by experimenting with the game's rendering settings, testing the impact of different LOD levels, or even altering the game engine's resource allocation to improve split-screen performance. By focusing on these areas, either developers or modders could potentially find ways to mitigate the issue and improve the split-screen experience for Sparking Zero. Discussing these potential solutions on your channel could spark further ideas and contributions from the community.
So yeah, that's what it said. And do I know how to do any of this? No, no, I don't. Especially without breaking the game. Um, but this is not a bad series of ideas. Saying have less stuff on the field or on the screen, removing things. So in general, it is highly probable that they might implement a multiplayer element to where at least these other areas or other levels will have less things on the field. But of course, everybody wants to feel and experience the raw power of pure destruction and chaos as we wreak havoc upon each other's faces in an all-out battle of blows and wits and I'm not trying to be poetic, but have a way with words. Anyway, maybe, just maybe, there could be a way to make it so. Um, I think there could. I think there should possibly be a way. Like I'm thinking, what if each character or the characters in general had a field or bubble that existed around them that caused certain things to be rendered or have physics or something as they moved, and the bubble would be predicated on how close they are to the opponent. So if that bubble wasn't touching certain things would not have certain physics. But once the bubble is touching something, that would activate the possibility of certain behaviors, such as things like shadows, such as things like destructibility, right? Things of that nature. I don't know how much or how little that could possibly optimize the game. I don't know what elements they already have to be facilitating or having these things functioning and working. The things or the ideas that I'm coming up with right now, they might already have tested, they might already have implemented. Um, Man, maybe I might have to go in and see if it's even possible in my own game engine. Um, yeah, in my own not game engine, but in another video game of my own creation. Um, I don't know. I really don't know. But what I do know is that is the reason why you can't play multiplayer on all the levels in the new Sparking Zero. And if you have any idea how we might be able to mod it in the future to be able to do that, if you have any idea of the approach that the developers could probably take in achieving that, if they already have achieved that and this video is just a little bit late, man, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to say you told me so in our next video on the channel known as What Games, a channel where we showcase all things gaming oriented, and we just have a little bit of fun here. We need to post some more gameplay up on the channel as well. So whatever you play, let us know in the comment section below. Currently, our go-to games are MyBots, um, DBZ Legends, Super Mech Champions. What else do I have up on my phone? Um, we're still playing the Dragon Ball Z project that just it's beta. The beta is going to close today sometime, so I'm actually not looking forward to that. Um, what else? What else do I have on here? Let me check. Oh, definitely some Brawlhalla and so many more games. We got a little bit of Pokemon. We got a little bit of My Hero Academia Strongest. We got Megamind, but I haven't played that in a while. We got this new game called Paku. We have I'm not Dragon Ball, Pokemon Fusions, which I'm definitely loving right now. We have Tekken, although we haven't played that in a while. Star Wars Hunters is pretty good, and we have Ultra Bouters as well. So if any of these are games that you guys would like to play, would like to see us play, let us know in the comment section below, and um, we'll be more than happy to have you on the channel. Until then, though, I'll see you guys in our next video where hopefully it will be just a wee bit shorter. Until then, good day.